Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 14th of June 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, just to see how everything's getting along. But before we do that, before we jump into those, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. There's always a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Also, just to quickly mention that just to notify you guys that next week we won't have any neither Trader Espresso nor Trader Tea Time videos. So just for 1 week, basically, we're going to resume on the 24th of June. So yep, feel free to join in then. But also probably a small recommendation could be to kind of sign up here to subscribe to our YouTube channel, just so that you would be up to date up to date with all the videos that we produce. So yep, feel free to do that. And yep, for now, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to touch on here very quickly is the ASX200, so the Australian index. And looking at this picture here, you can see that after the index traveled lower and after it kind of hit this upside support line that has been running here from the lows of December to last year, you can see that it briefly kind of broke it to the downside, managed to hit the area around the 6,303, and kind of then from there reversed back above this upside line. And from the beginning of June, the index continues to travel higher, or should I say continued to travel higher. It managed to reach this key area, important area of resistance near the 6,595 level, approximately there, and then from there it reversed back down. Now we've got this nice picture here. Of course, it continues to trade above this kind of medium-term upside line taken from that December low that I just mentioned. So that's a good positive sign. Of course, from the very short-term perspective, you can see that it started drifting slightly lower. The only thing is that such activity here could be seen, of course, this could be just an idea, of course, could be seen as a nice flag formation. Now normally in such scenarios this flag tends to break to the upside if we had a prevailing trend before that. So now this little correction, like I said, could be classed as a little flag here. Of course, this needs confirmation first, and of course the confirmation would be a break through the upper side of it. Now, in a way, what you could do here is, from the very short-term perspective, you could in a way keep your eyes on this little area of resistance right here near the highs, near today's highs, around the 6,564 area, approximately there. Now if we do get a nice push here above this, then yep, of course this would already break the upper side of this potential flag formation, and we could see this one traveling maybe back up here towards the highs of this week near the 6,595 level that I've mentioned. So of course, if that fails to withhold, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and the index could travel further up. Now, just to show you where it could potentially travel to, probably for this one I would need to jump into a weekly chart, because this is the level that we're keeping a close eye on, the 6,000 6,728 zone, and we need to drag basically back here into history. That was the high of December 2007, so very good potential target. But of course, right now, where the index is today, we are of course testing the levels that were tested back in 2007. So if we see a nice good push above the 6,595 level, then yep, the next target for us, a kind of more of a longer term target, would be around the that 6,728 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. Very good potential area, but first excuse me guys, but first we need to figure out and see, will this play out as a nice flag or not. If it breaks here lower, if it drops below the 6,523 area, then yep, we will aim for the 6,500 zone, or even actually going further back down towards this maybe a retest of this upside line. So in a way, long story short guys, for us to consider the downside again, or at least up until this up until we see a hit of this upside line, we need to see a drop below the 6,500 level here, approximately there guys, and then yep, we could consider further declines. For now, we're going to continue observing this one. Just we'll probably play more of a waiting game and see which way that's going to break out to. DXY, very quickly, now this is having a nice boost here. I talked about DXY yesterday, and yes, actually not yesterday, we talked about it this week, where I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier right here near the 96.94. So we did have a initially nice good break above it, then we saw our small retracement, and then another bounce from it, and this one pushed higher. So it managed to reach our target here already, the 200 EMA. Slightly above that we do have the 97.37 level. Now I talked about this one as well. Of course, if this continues to travel higher and breaks above the 97.37, the next potential target here could be around the 97.55. Let me just quickly put this one carefully here. And so around this one, that marks the low of the 24th of May. Good potential target, but for now, of course, this index could get a hold up around here, around this 97.37 level. We may see a small correction back down, but to be honest, for us now to shift, let's say, in order to kind of change our outlook here to the more negative one, at least in the short run, we would like to see a drop below the 96.94 level first, and then we will aim for slightly lower areas. For now, it is where it is. It is kind of pushing higher. Let's see if it actually manages to break above the 97.37 level. But to be honest, what I think could happen, I mean, this is a very good potential area of resistance. So in a way, we could see a small correction back down first, and then maybe another leg of buying. So keep this idea in your head. If this, like I said, drops lower here and breaks back below the 96.94, then yep, we will aim for slightly lower areas here. Jumping into Euro Swedish krone. Now this is a very interesting pair because it continues to slide lower. Now it's at its very strong area of support. Let's see if it actually breaks further below that. If the 4-hour candle stays below that that level here, this 10.6310 zone, then well, we could see further declines. And in a way, what we could target here is this this key area of support near the 10.5908, which previously, as you can see, acted as a very good area of support back here on the 31st of May and also in the beginning of June. So we will target that, but we need to see a nice good clear close below the 10.6310 zone, approximately there. So this way, like I said, further declines could be possible. If it stays above this level, then in a way that we do accept the chance for a small correction, maybe back up here, maybe test of this 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. And if it fails to drive above it, then we could see that nice good leg of selling, another leg of selling. So in a way, guys, keep your eyes on this key important support zone. Let's see how this is going to play out. If it's going to hold, then we may see a small correction back up here. The only thing is that for us to, let's say, at least start targeting slightly higher levels, Ideally, we would like to see a push back above the 10.6716 area, approximately there. This way we could aim for these highs, these recent highs. Initially we could aim of course for today's highs, today's high near the 10.7120, something like that. But above that, slightly above that, we do have the high of the 12th of June, or in other words, the high of this week near the 10.7170 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. But again, before we could consider those, we need to see a strong good push above the 10.6716 level, back above this level. Then we'll aim for higher levels. For now, all eyes are on the 10.6310. Let's see how this is going to play out. If we stay below that, then yep, further declines are possible. EURJPY, so this one is also taking a hit, and you can see that it's now breaking the it's breaking this upside support line. This in a way a bit of a tentative one. It only kind of marked two lows here, but still what's interesting is it's still breaking it lower. Now, for us, in order to, let's say, consider the upside again, well, ideally, we would like to see a push back above this upside line, and of course, ideally, above a push above the 122.08 level. But I mean, that seems not to be the case for now. It seems that there is more chances for this one to travel lower, and if, let's say, today we see this one staying here below this upside line, the next target for us is going to be this one right here. Let me just put the arrow. This is going to be our target, the 121.19, marked by the low of the 6th of June. So for now, everything's kind of leading towards that. Of course, at some point we could see a small correction to the upside, but for now, this is looking more negative than positive, especially if it's going to stay below this upside line. If it travels back above this upside line and, let's say, breaks back above the 122.08 level, then yep, we will aim for slightly higher levels again. Euro USD, very quickly on this one. So this one took a hit, so it sold off, and probably you could already understand that when we looked at DXY. So DXY was traveling higher. This one's taking a hit. And also, this is something that I talked about recently in one of my videos, where I've mentioned this level right here, the 1.1267. So that kind of acted as a nice gateway towards lower levels. It broke our other important support zone near the 1.1250, which coincided with the 100 EMA, and tested 200 EMA. Just perfect test here. Maybe just a small overshoot, but still kind of perfect test. And now you can see that the pair is slightly retracing to the upside. Now, of course, all this still kind of creates this, it paints this slightly more bearish picture. Our next target here is around the 1.1215. That would be very interesting to see if it actually gets a nice test. In a way, I believe that we could, if we see this one traveling further down here towards the 1.1215, we may see a small rebound here around this area, and then maybe just for a small correction. For us to aim for higher levels now on this one, well, let me just draw something here, guys. So basically, from the very short-term perspective, in order to aim for slightly higher levels, ideally now we're going to wait for a push above this downside resistance line, and in a way probably let's say by the time, if this travels lower, it has a nice rebound here around the 1.1215, and if it reverses back to the upside, this probably will end up being somewhere around here, and this 1.1250 level could come in line very nicely, and it could in a way act as that nice barrier or that nice gateway towards higher levels. So in a way, for now, from the very short-term perspective, we will continue targeting lower areas. Like I said, the 1.1215, that's where we're keeping a close eye on. If that area acts as a nice bouncing ground, we could see this one reversing and pushing higher, but we will only aim for higher levels again if we see a push back above the 1.1250. And of course, if that happens, let's say today, then if that happens, if the rate travels back above the 1.1250 today, then we will lift this potential breakout point back to the 1.1267. So for it really depends, guys, how this is going to end up today. If it's going to end up somewhere here, then yep, keep this in your head for next week. Keep an eye on this 1.1250. If we see this one reversing to the upside, yep, we could see this one getting tested again. And if we see a break above the 1.1250, this could open the path towards slightly higher levels again. If this continues to fall, let's say if this breaks below the 1.1215, now the further declines could lead towards the 1.1190 level again. This level has been tested last time around the 3rd of June. So yep, good potential target. It previously acted as a nice area of resistance, should I say intraday swing high, and this time could play out as a nice area of support. So for now, of course, we're not going to kind of go too far here. First we will aim for the 1.1215, and then we'll take it from there. GBPUSD is also taking a hit. Let's put it that way, it's looking slightly better than the euro dollar, but still kind of in the negative territory for today. So the most important thing here is that it's now breaking this 1.2640 level. It broke into the downside. It's the 4-hour candle is not finished yet. We still have around half an hour left, and it's going to be very interesting to see if it stays here below. Then yep, further declines are possible. This is where we will aim for this area right here near the 1.20. Let me just quickly double check that 1.2560 zone, which previously acted as a good area of support back here on the 31st of May. Good potential target, but that's in the scenario if we see this 4-hour candle staying below the 1.2640. If this suddenly reverses back up here and closes above the 1.2640, then in a way, to be honest, we could see this one maybe correcting back up here. And from today's perspective, maybe this could even travel back to the pivot, but that's in the scenario if we see this one staying above the 1.2640. So keep your eyes on that level, guys. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on here, just kind of show you something, that's USD against US dollar against the Turkish lira. A very interesting chart. In a way, it's still overall kind of trading below this little short-term, I shouldn't say overall, but still trading below the short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 9th of May. But from the even shorter-term perspective, then it is kind of stuck here in this nice rising channel formation. So in a way, in other words, it is kind of something like coiling up here. So you know what we could see here happening, maybe we could see a small retracement back down, maybe a small test of the lower side of this rising channel formation, and then if it fails to drop below this lower side, then we could see another move higher here. But again, the upside for us could be limited due to this downside resistance line taken from the high of 9th of May. If, of course, this lower side of the rising channel breaks, then we could see this one correcting back down, maybe even actually going all the way here towards the lows of June, or should I say the lows of June so far, near the 5.6569 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. But again, like I said, we will consider the downside only if we see a break of this small rising channel formation. For now, we could see this one correcting to the downside a little bit more, but still we're going to be aiming higher eventually, but only up until this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 9th of May. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Once again, thank you very much for sticking around and watching until the end. Just a quick also reminder that there won't be any videos next week. We will resume the videos on the 24th of June, and I hope you will stay safe in next week. So yep, and be very careful with all the trades. But at the same time, I really wish you, I hope you do well next week. And yep, like I said, we will resume on the 24th of June. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.